Hey everybody, welcome to the channel or welcome back to the channel. Well, this is a video that I've dreaded making, but I promised some of the viewers in the comments that I would. So I let it slip in a previous video, I don't even remember what it was about, that I had recently made the decision to switch from Supernote to Boox as my everyday carry, my main device for my work life. And there was some questions around why did I decide to do that? And I promised that I'd put a video out on that. So this is that video. I guess I'm a little I'm a little hesitant to put this video out because I don't want to alienate anybody, or if you're in the Supernote camp or if you're in the Boox camp, I'm not siding with one side over the other. I'm going to tell you what my use case is for it and how that's evolved over time. And it's evolved as the devices have evolved in some cases, but it really just is a matter of the Boox suits me better. So let's talk about that. So I began using the Supernote Manta as my everyday carry back on March 8th of 2025. I still remember that was the day that I published a video saying that I was biased against Supernote and that I was wrong about that bias. I was biased, thinking that it was a cheap device, that the UI looked like it was, out of the 1970s, and I don't remember what else I said, but the device turned out to be really, 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 really good, and it still is all those things without a doubt. I would say it's one of the top tier e-ink devices on the market today. And I'm still going to use it, by the way. So I have three different use devices for e-ink tablets. The first is for my work or my professional use, and that's what this video is about today. Which one am I going to be using at work? Which is my heaviest use case? And then I also have a use case for journaling that I use the Remarkable Paper Pro for, and even a little bit of the Remarkable Move. And then there's also, I guess, my spiritual side, in that, in church, taking sermon notes, daily devotions, those types of things. I find that the Supernote works fantastic with that, with the digest and the copy and paste and the text boxes. And although Boox does some of that stuff, Supernote does it better. So just wanted to, say that I am not abandoning Supernote. I'm just changing for my professional device. A couple of other things that, Supernote does really well, and that's the modularity of the device and the promise of, upgrades to the battery, the motherboard. Is just a fantastic option. There's no other device that does that out there. Frankly, Supernote's the only one. And then with the Feel Right screen protector that they put on there, combined with a ceramic nib, the writing feel is really unique. And I've heard people say that they love it or they hate it. Most people love it, though. I love it. I think it's a fantastic writing feel. And then when you consider the partner apps that you can get on your phones or your computer, your laptop, whatever the case may be, Supernote's partner app is among the best out there, probably is the best out there, with all the functionality that you can do, how they've integrated the digest. It's just a fantastic experience in their partner app. So with all that, why the heck am I changing? Let's talk about it in this video. So the first reason has to do with device availability and selection, and just the variability of those selections. So with Supernote, I get the 10.65-inch Manta, and I get the 8-inch Supernote Nomad. And both of these are, once again, they're wonderful devices, fantastic software, but that's it. Neither one of them have a front light, so I can't use it in any conditions that I wanted to, in any, lighting conditions that I would want to. Neither one of them have color. Neither one of them have a larger option or a smaller option. So that is probably my first reason. With Boox, if I want to have a front light, I've got it. If I want to have color, I've got it. If I want to have a large device like this 13.3-inch Tab XC, I've got it. Or the 10.3-inch Note Air 5C. Or if I want to go smaller, I can go with the Go Color 7. Or if I want to go even smaller than that, I can go with the new Palma 2 Pro. Then if I'm unhappy with having a front light in color, I can always add in the Go 10.3, the GOAT as they call it. So I've got plenty of options. I can also get the Note Max, which is a black and white version of this. Just a lot of options when you go with Boox. What is a glaringly missing from the Boox lineup, as it is from other device manufacturers as well, is a 10-inch or any size 10-inch or 13.3-inch device that is black and white and also has a front light. Why is Kindle Scribe, why are they the only ones that can do a 10-inch black and white screen, and throw a front light on it and make it look lovely. Want a keyboard case? Hey, we've got that for the Boox, not only for the Tab XC, but also now for the Note Air 5C, that you can carry that around and have a keyboard available. When it comes to system storage, I've only got 32 gigabyte available on the Supernote Manta, although I can add an SD card to it. Over here on the Note Air 5C, I've got 64 gigabyte available. As you can see, that I've already used 33 gigabyte over here. Of course, I've loaded a lot more stuff onto this than I do on the Manta. And there could be some differences in the file optimization as well, but I certainly do have more on this device. But I have already exceeded on the Note Air 5C what I'm capable of having on the Supernote Manta without adding an SD card. I documented in a video about a month ago a large 12,000 plus page hyperlinked PDF file that I created to take notes in. And I know that sounds excessive, but it was just what I wanted to use for my personal needs. And I took it through every device, Remarkable and, ViWoods and Supernote and Boox. Boox was the only one, they could all open the file. Boox was the only one that had working hyperlinks when I got it on there. Smaller files that are hyperlinked, all of them can handle it. But when I threw that 12,000 page at it, it was just, it worked like butter on the smooth as butter on the Boox, but the Supernote could not handle all of the hyperlinks. Some of them were functional, but not all of them. Now, are you always going to have something that big? No, but I think it speaks to the capabilities of this device and being able to push it to the limits compared to this one. They both sync really well between devices within their ecosystem. So all of my Boox devices sync up together very well. I never have conflict files, but I think it was interesting that during my last segment when I was talking about storage, you saw live in that segment that this file had some kind of a conflict, and now it's showing to be twice on my device. I'll have to figure out what that conflict is, but that is very interesting. And here it is showing the conflict there as well. Supernote's working on that. They said that they're trying to make syncing a little bit smoother, and I think they're trying to eliminate these types of issues. So another major reason for me has to do with the software and the fact that the Boox device has the Google Play Store, which means that it opens up a world of possibilities and apps and productivity apps, specifically for me at work, Microsoft Outlook and Teams and To Do and Excel and PowerPoint, Word. While you can sideload those onto the Manta, it's not quite as seamless of an experience. And plus, on the Manta, the way that it displays those files or those apps is very limited, and sometimes it's very tiny, and you don't have the option to be able to adjust the DPI on that. Whereas on the Boox, you can use the eInkWise Center to adjust the DPI where you can make that look exactly how you want it to look. So Google Play Store opens up a world of possibilities. The other thing is that I constantly take an e-ink device, or at least when I was using the Manta, I was taking my Manta to work, and then I was also taking my iPad so that I could have instant access to all the things that I just mentioned in the Microsoft suite, as well as other things. With the Boox device, I can leave the iPad at home and only use the Boox device. It's a fantastic Android tablet. The only thing that I don't do on the Boox device that I was using the iPad for is video conferencing. I think that that's a little bit choppy, and of course, I don't have a camera on the front side to be able to show me, so that's the only limitation. But I have to have my laptop anyway, so that kind of fits that bill. The other thing that I was going to say is that, I hear that these devices, a lot of people like this device, like the Remarkable or the Supernote, because they're distraction free. And I understand that that's important to a lot of folks. Distraction free allows you to think, it allows you to ruminate, it allows you to pour your thoughts out onto it. But in my use case, at least in my professional life, distractions are my job. It's all the emails and the Teams messages, and being able to access and open files and edit those files seamlessly. That is my job. Without the distractions, I'm not very productive at all. So I need a device that can handle the distractions, but I don't want to use the iPad. The iPad has got that bright glaring screen, and people think that you're watching YouTube videos, which that's a good idea. If you're at work and you get bored, bring up some of my YouTube videos. Nobody will ever know. But it's the perfect distraction device to be able to handle the distractions and be able to work that into your productivity. It can do everything that I need it to do whereas in the Supernote, it's a little bit less attuned to be able to do that. I love that it's got a proper home screen. What I mean by a proper home screen, as you see on any phone or any tablet that you buy, iPad or Samsung or whatever, you've got access to widgets and you've got access to your apps, and you can customize that however you want to. This is basically the home screen, or if you wanted to swipe down, this might be your home screen as well. You've got 8 apps that you can have here and access to your most recent documents, which is very handy, don't get me wrong. It's just that it's not what I'm used to, and it's not what gives me very rapid productivity capability that I need in my job. Now let's get into some of the organizational features and what my preferences are here. So I'm going to make the argument that outlines are better than headers. And the reason I say that is I've got an outline here started, why I switched to Boox, which is this video. I can continue to add outline components to this, but one thing on the Supernote, let me show you how you do that. You simply lasso something, and then you make it a header. You choose what you want the header to look like, and now you've got a header. Now you can also access this by going to this icon here, and you see your header in your handwriting here. You can also do that as text on the screen, and it'll show up as text here. So don't think you're only limited to that. But you do see the header here, and you only have one level. You can't do subheaders. On outlines, I can come in here and say that I want to do and add a sub outline. And I want to make this, let's just say it's on page 3. I can name it whatever. I'll just name it DDDD. And now I've got a sub outline that I can collapse, which is very handy if you're doing stuff by dates or groups of meetings or by people or whatever the case may be, where you can nest those in there. So I think that outlines are better than headers. So I also think that tags on the Boox devices exceeds the capability of keywords on the Supernote devices. Let me show you, for example. I can highlight this, and I'm going to do this method. I could also hold 2 fingers on the screen. I can lasso this. I can make it a keyword. It recognizes the text. I can add it. And then I've got it available. Here's my keywords. It says it is on page 2. I can also search it in the system by swiping down from the top. I can search for keywords. And then I can search for the word keyword, I think is what I put on there, or what I name that. And there it is. Now, if this was a page full of handwriting, I would have to search this page visually to try to find that. So let me show you how it works on Boox. So I can lasso it. I can make a tag out of this. I'm gonna leave it named tags, or maybe I'm gonna change that because I think I've already got that in there somewhere. I'll just call it testing. All right. Now it highlights the word in there. So if I'm searching in the Notes app, I can come here and say that I want to look for tags. Here's the word testing. I'm going to go ahead and search for this. There it is. And then it's got that highlighted on the page. So if this was also a page full of text or handwriting, it's going to immediately draw my eye to what the tag was. One thing that I do like about the Supernote that does not exist on the Boox is the ability to make stars. And then that is captured as a, I guess an area of attention, where you don't have anything like that on the Boox device. Lassoing is easier on Boox. I'll show you the way that it works on Supernote. I have 2 different ways of doing it. I can click on the lasso and then do that. Or I can hold down 2 fingers on the menu bar and I can lasso and do it that way. On the Boox device, it's as simple as just taking your pen and circling it. And there I've lassoed that. That's enabled through the AI functionality. Lasso recognition, where it interprets that circle around that particular component as a lasso. The same thing is true as far as erasing. Erasing on the Supernote, you've got a couple of different ways of doing it. You can just have an eraser and start erasing stuff. You can erase the entire page by doing that. Or you can do the 2-finger lasso and then hit delete. On the Boox device, once again, it's just as simple as I can, if I've got some handwriting here, I'll just write the word hand. If I've got some handwriting, I don't have an eraser on the end of this pen. If I did, of course, it would work, but I don't have to do anything. I don't have to select an eraser. I don't have to put two fingers on there to lasso. I don't have to go select anything. I can just scribble and it's gone. I can scribble and it's gone. Individual letters or everything. So erasing is much easier on the Boox device as well. Being able to draw perfect shapes is also a huge advantage on the Boox devices. On the Supernote devices, I can draw a perfectly straight line. If I hold that, I can draw a straight line. I can even hold the end of it, stretch it, change it, tilt it, whatever I want to do. But that's it. It's a straight line. That's it. On the Boox devices, I have a list of 32 different shapes that I can choose from. Oh gosh, I don't even know what the names of all these shapes are, but it's all sorts of rectangles, squares, triangles, cylinders, cones, all sorts of stuff that you can choose from, and you can draw them perfectly just by selecting them and then laying them out on the page. So not only are shapes an advantage of the Boox, but also once I've created a shape, I can fill that shape with any color. And I can see the color on the screen, by the way, as you can see there, which I don't have the color. I don't have the ability to create a shape, fill it with color, or even shades on the Supernote device. And since we mentioned color, I can also highlight in color, I can write in color, I can doodle in color, I can draw in color, I can do all these different things in color if I've got a color Boox device. And I don't have to wait until I export my document to be able to see it in color. I've got it there on the page. For me, that's important. I like to highlight stuff on my work notes that draws my attention to the page when I go back to it. Is something that's highly important. And I usually either do that through highlighting or through changing the color by lassoing and then changing the format of the writing on there. On the Boox device, I can also do voice recording. It immediately starts recording and continues. I don't know that there's a limit on that, but that's a huge advantage. If you need to record a meeting or a conversation, of course, always let the other people know that you're doing that before you do it. That's just common courtesy, and sometimes it's the law. And then they're also introducing something soon called meeting notes, where I believe that that's going to summarize the recordings into an outline for a meeting as well. No such ability on the Supernote. So I certainly did not want this to be a bashing session on Supernote. Like I said, Supernote is one of the very best e-ink devices that you can buy, and it is the perfect ink device for a lot of people out there. I would recommend that if you're looking for a specific use case that is specific to you, consider the capabilities of all the different devices. Go back and look at some of my videos on the Supernote, or go watch some videos from Ed Finn at Organizing for Change. Ed is the Supernote expert on YouTube, and if you're considering that device, he can certainly, all of his videos will walk you through the capabilities of that device. The digest that's recently been released is unparalleled on any other device out there in the capability to use it for research and just all sorts of use cases for that. But so this was not an intent to bash Supernote. It was really just to explain my reason for wanting to change over to Boox. I love to use different devices. I love to have choices in my devices. I love to not have to worry about syncing everything with, different platforms, especially within my work devices. I like to have them all my notes in one jar, if you will. And Boox allows me to do that while enjoying color, while enjoying size variants, while enjoying black and white if that's what I wanted to do, while having a front light if that's what I wanted to do. And then all of the tools that I mentioned and how they function for me and how I feel that they're better, you may disagree, and that's fine. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or create any kind of a controversy. These are just my opinions for my particular use case. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, entertaining, if it made you mad, I would ask, consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and you'll definitely see more videos like this. I'm not afraid to share my opinion. I will tell you that I respect everybody's choices out there. Everybody has reasons for using the devices that they want to use, and that's always a personal choice. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.